This dirtbag's a real bad guy. He's got to go down.
Let's do it.
I'm John Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after.
My son Callahan and I are fired up. With your help, we're coming for fugitives, hunting them down, and putting them right where they belong, behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. First, she called for help, but within 24 hours, she was gone. A young mother of 4 shot to death in her own home. Now the manhunt is on for her husband, veteran Aaron Pennington. Then, he was a butcher, a master of the craft. But police say his talent with a knife took a terrifying turn. We're on the hunt for Renato Yedra Braceno. Finally, a ruthless crew of thieves stalking celebrities online and ransacking their homes for luxury loot. Tonight, Atlanta's own Lil Jon is in studio with us to help break down a dangerous bling ring and catch the one who got away, Karwan Mohammed. America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series, and we're back. You can run, but you can't hide. Hello, I'm John Walsh, and this is America's Most Wanted. Tonight, we're back on the hunt for the most dangerous fugitives wherever they're hiding.
And I'm Callahan Walsh. We just kicked off a brand new season, and the pursuit of justice is already in full swing.
We're fired up as ever, bringing you a new lineup of cases in the search for low-life fugitives, including one from a notorious Atlanta area crime ring. Stepping in to join the fight tonight, we've got a special guest, Grammy-winning rapper and born and raised in Atlanta, Lil Jon. He's here to help us break down this case in his hometown.
It's a team effort at AMW. Alongside our investigators, we have the FBI, U.S. Marshals, and local and state police all standing by. But you continue to be our greatest partner. Since 1988, your tips have helped us nab 1,198 suspected criminals. And remember, when you call or go to our website, your identity will be protected.
Every tip, every second counts, because no matter how far fugitives run, one thing is certain. You can run, but you can't hide. Let's settle up.
Our first case is a heartbreaking reminder that domestic violence can often be a race against time.
It's been nearly 2 years since a devoted mother of 4 was brutally murdered at her home in Gardner, Massachusetts. What makes this case so tragic is that Breezy Pennington, just before her death, reportedly called police to tell them she was having trouble in her marriage and that she feared for her safety. Now her husband, Aaron Pennington, the prime suspect in her murder, is on the run.
Is he considered a suspect or a person of interest?
He's considered armed and dangerous and a person that we want to find.
This is one of the strangest cases for a nice town like Gardner. It was shocking.
They were so good at masking, it was hard to tell that there was all this chaos going on behind the scenes.
She was going to take the kids and bring them down to Texas. She ran out of town.
She was beautiful, and she loved her children, and she didn't deserve to die. My niece Brianne came into this world so loved, and she just loved running on her horse with that long blonde hair blowing in the wind. So we called her Breezy, and Breezy was very active in our church. In 2012 at church, this tall blonde boy walks in, and Brianne said, "That one is mine." His name was Aaron Pennington.
And just 7 months later, 20-year-old Breezy and 22-year-old Aaron were married in the Mormon church.
After their first child was born, Aaron decided to join the Air Force. They were stationed in Okinawa, Japan. They had 2 more children, and in the early years, they were so happy. But I do believe in Okinawa was the start of some trouble for them. Aaron was really struggling at this point. There was depression. He was never that military type of man's man.
In 2021, Aaron was discharged from the Air Force and transitioned back to civilian life.
He obtained a job with a defense contractor in Massachusetts. They found a new church community.
I got to know the Penningtons when they moved into the area as they attended our church. Aaron mentioned to me that depression ran in his family. During our conversations, there was a darkness. He spent all the time talking to me about his worries and his anxieties. He was just worried because his wife was into tarot cards and getting tattoos. Those aren't necessarily bad, but they were separating her from the religion. He worked at a few different jobs, but then he wasn't taking care of himself mentally and physically, and so he quit those jobs.
The bills were coming in and not being paid. There was a lot of fighting.
The Gardner police logged a number of incidences at the Pennington house. They ranged from Aaron acting erratically to Brianne's concerns for his mental health.
Brianne had decided that she was leaving.
I'm going to my mom.
The marriage was over.
In early October of 2023, Aaron went to visit family in California.
He was obsessively calling, texting. He wanted her to take him back. That was never going to happen. She left messages with a friend talking about her fear and that she had decided to leave and take the children to Texas to be closer to her grandparents. But on October 20th, Aaron was flying home. She was scared that he was just out of his mind, and so she called Gardner police about whether she wanted a restraining order.
Breezy then left a panicked audio message for a friend.
I've told Aaron 1,000,000 times, do not show up here. You need to get help. I do not feel safe. You're not welcome.
A little more than 24 hours later, and she was dead.
911. My neighbor's kids have come over to my house scared. They don't know where their dad is, and they're trying to get a hold of their mom. They can't get into her bedroom.
I got a call. One of the neighbors next door to the Penningtons said that the children had showed up on the doorstep. We then go in the house asking, Breezy, where are you? Is anyone here? Breezy? So we just try the door, and the knob turns, but there was a dresser right there. I remember seeing Breezy laying in the bed with her head facing away.
There's a woman in the bed. She's hurt.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how hurt, but there's blood.
Hold on 1 second.
It was a violent scene. It appeared to be an execution. My first question was, where is Aaron Pennington?
Aaron Pennington is 34 years old, has blonde hair, blue eyes, is 6 feet 2 inches tall, and weighs about 175 pounds. He's an Air Force veteran and a skilled mechanic, so it's possible he could be working in aviation or automotive repair. He was also a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. So there's two communities, veterans and members of the Mormon Church, and it's possible folks in these groups could be helping him out. If you recognize this fugitive, don't approach him. Pennington is considered armed and dangerous. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, police uncover a smoking gun and trace the final steps of Aaron Pennington. And later, authorities accuse a butcher of brutally murdering his girlfriend, then setting her apartment on fire to cover up his crime. Plus, a ruthless gang uses social media to target celebrities and rob their homes, terrorizing the community. Atlanta's own Lil Jon helps us dig into this wild story. But first, we need your tips to help us close this case. Take a good look. The year-long manhunt continues for Jonathan Baez Perez, who's wanted for allegedly shooting a man 9 times at the Carniceria La Tuna Market in Enid, Oklahoma. Police say the confrontation began when Baez Perez, seen in white, approached Cesar Gomez outside this grocery store. Their argument quickly escalated until a friend stepped in to break up the fight. But the beef isn't over. As Baez Perez returns to his vehicle, still upset, Gomez approaches and kicks the car door, which is flung open as Baez Perez allegedly opens fire from the passenger seat, hitting Gomez in the hand and torso. Watch as Baez Perez makes his escape behind the vehicle as Gomez clutches his gunshot wounds. Luckily, Gomez survived. Baez Perez is 24 years old, 5 foot 6 inches tall, weighing 140 pounds. Authorities say he has a prior felony gun conviction and may have fled to his home state of Jalisco, Mexico, and they're offering a $5,000 reward for his capture. If you recognize him, contact us immediately. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Authorities are searching for Aaron Pennington, the man they suspect of murdering his own wife, Breezy, just as she was preparing to leave him. As investigators dig deeper, they uncover a disturbing relationship and a chilling call for help.
My brother called me. He said Breezy's been murdered, and I had to have him repeat it 3 times. She was in the safety of her own bed.
It appeared that Aaron Pennington had barricaded the door to the bedroom, had allegedly killed his wife, Breanne Pennington, exited the house by jumping out of a second-floor window. And now he was nowhere to be found. We didn't find a gun at the scene, but we did find Aaron's cell phone.
That cell phone contained a note that Aaron apparently wrote to himself.
Don't say anything. Be quiet. If she wakes up, just say you're getting nasal spray. Get on side of bed, very close proximity to head. Put hole in her head. And that is the smoking gun.
We are currently looking for Aaron Pennington. He is considered to be armed and dangerous. He is driving a white BMW.
Surveillance video from a house across the street showed Aaron Pennington's white BMW leaving their residence at about 8:50 in the morning.
Monday, October 23rd, Aaron's vehicle was located at Camp Collier in Gardner. A hunter found the vehicle. It appears that the car got stuck. It's not really an area that you would drive to. Suspicious. Literally, it feels like he just disappeared.
I felt like I was trying to help him and that my efforts fell on their face. I felt betrayed. It was hard to reckon with. I never knew if I even talked to the real Aaron. If Aaron's still out there, I would encourage him to turn himself in.
I know he's out there. I know he is. I think about Breezy every single day. I want to kiss her cheeks and tell her I'm so sorry. I will never stop loving you. There's nothing you will ever change how much I love you.
Folks in the military, even veterans, can have complicated issues in their family lives. So we wanted to talk to someone who had firsthand insight into that world. Josh White is a veteran, a podcaster, and an influential voice in the Air Force community. Josh, thanks for being here.
Sir, it is my honor. From one veteran who serves this country to another, I want to thank you, sir. When folks like me are deployed, we know our families are safe because we have someone like you out there watching over us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for your service. Aaron Pennington, he was an airman, you're an airman.
Yes, sir.
How do you compare your service with his?
So with Aaron's service, the biggest overlap is probably the fact that we both worked on the Kadena Air Base flight line in Okinawa, Japan. With that comes 12-hour shifts.
Right.
You have to be alert at all times, your attention to detail at an all-time high with zero room for error.
The stress of being in another country. My dad, who was my hero, 15 medals in World War II, was stationed on Okinawa. He flew a B-24, almost shot down several times. Returning to civilian life is tough, isn't it?
Being away from your family, being overseas, especially being a young, newer airman. I was always warned of the culture shock of going to Japan, going to another country. But I'll tell you, the culture shock was actually the return back to the United States. It kind of felt like I had to, keep looking over my shoulder. There was a sense of unease.
There's so much traumatic stress syndrome these days. And his wife was pulling away from the Mormon church. That probably added to the stress.
If you are not mentally prepared, emotionally prepared for something like that, it can certainly catch you off guard.
Looking at this case, what do you think could have been done differently?
With Aaron specifically, those red flags were probably there for many years. People probably saw them over and over again. And unfortunately, he did not have the intervention he needed at the time. When we see those red flags and we ignore them and say, they'll figure it out, they'll get better, it's not the right answer.
No.
I think we need to normalize asking for help.
What if he was watching tonight?
I'd say, Aaron, I've been in your shoes. I know firsthand the pressure and the anxiety that comes with a mission like that. I understand what it's like to be a father and a husband and to feel the pressure of supporting them. But I also understand that he joined with the values that all airmen join with. Integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do.
Right.
And I know at some point in his life, those meant something to him. So I would tell him to tap back into that.
I couldn't agree with you more. Want to thank you for all the kind words. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Let's take another look at Aaron Pennington. He's 34 years old, has blonde hair, blue eyes, is about 6 feet 2 inches tall, and weighs about 175 pounds. Pennington has been on the run for over a year, and he's left quite a trail behind him. His wife, Breezy, was found dead in their Gardner, Massachusetts home in 2023. The following day, police found the car they believe Pennington was driving at a nearby campground. A search there and at a nearby lake turned up no sign of him. Pennington also has ties to Southern California, specifically the Inland Empire, where his father lives. We also know Aaron was a faithful member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, so it's worth mentioning he could be hiding where there's a large Mormon community like Salt Lake City. If you've seen someone who fits the description, be very cautious. Pennington is considered armed and dangerous.
Coming up, she thought she knew the guy she was dating, an award-winning butcher. But police claim his talent turned deadly. Then, an Atlanta area gang uses social media to track celebrities and rob their homes. To help us out, Atlanta's own Lil Jon will join us. But first, we need your help with this case. Authorities in Washington state are looking for this woman, Seattle's serial bank robber. She's connected to at least 6 bank robberies in 6 months and accused of stealing thousands of dollars from banks all over Seattle. This first heist was at a U.S. bank where she passes a note demanding money. The teller hands her hundreds of dollars and she calmly leaves the bank. Here she is on January 3rd, 2025, this time at a Home Street bank, passing a similar note to a bank teller. She walks away with a stack of cash, seen here in the bank's parking lot. Then, just last month, she robs another Home Street bank, but this time she flashes a gun at the teller. The suspect is described as an Asian female, 20 years old, 5 foot 4 inches tall. If you're in the Seattle area and recognize her, call us now. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This next case is about a butcher who won recognition in meat cutting competitions all around the world. He had the awards, the reputation, and by all accounts, an incredible girlfriend. But it was a love story that would turn deadly.
Veronica was fun. She was young and free, and you can tell that she will always be surrounded by friends and family. Me and Veronica have been always very close. We grew up in Italy. Because Veronica was older than me, she wanted to protect me. It was 2 of us against the world.
In 2012, Hillary moved to the North Beach section of San Francisco, where her sister Veronica would join her 2 years later.
North Beach, it's the Italian area of San Francisco. Lots of Italian restaurants, bar, you can drink a coffee like Italians do. Veronica and Hillary, they were definitely best friends. We saw each other every day, I would say, yes.
When I had my son Gabriele, Veronica immediately fell in love with him. She wanted to be in his life.
Happy birthday to you.
Bye. Ciao, belly. Bye. Veronica and my husband both ended up working at the butcher shop, and there was a man there. He was always in charge to cut the meat. He was a shy person, not someone that would initiate a conversation.
Renato Yedra Braceno was living in San Francisco after a childhood spent learning the butcher trade in Mexico City. He won several prestigious butchery contests, even representing Mexico in butcher competitions.
Veronica and Renato started dating, but they were trying to keep their relationship low profile.
Honestly, I didn't like him very much. He was distant. About a year into their relationship, they had a fight. Renato got very jealous that my sister got this text from an old friend. She didn't like his reaction.
We didn't socialize with Renato and Veronica. They only came once. It was Christmas Day. Renato and Veronica were having some issues, definitely some tension, for sure.
About a week later, she came over to our house on New Year's Eve. I was very pregnant at that time, and there was something off.
She was trying to hide it from her sister. But then later she started telling me things that we didn't know until that. She got pregnant. Then she lost the baby. She was worried about Renato being upset. I'd get a feeling that she was scared of them at that time.
She never told me because I was pregnant and because she didn't want to put stress on me and being worried.
Just 2 weeks later, Hillary went into labor with her second child.
My contractions started at 2 a.m. Veronica was supposed to come to stay with Gabriele home while we were going to the hospital.
We started calling Veronica and we didn't get any answer. We need to figure out something else. And then we head to the hospital. At 8 a.m. in the morning, Hillary was getting ready to have the baby. And I have this phone call. On the other side was Veronica's neighbor telling me that something happened very bad to Veronica. He told me the apartment was on fire. And he told me Veronica's dead.
The fire department arrived on scene at 8 in the morning. They observed a female on the ground, burnt to a crisp. She had a gash or slice almost from ear to ear across her neck. They could immediately recognize this was likely a homicide.
Not only did this scumbag allegedly take the life of Veronica Donito, the fire put an entire apartment building filled with occupants at risk. We're talking about an alleged murder and arson. Please, we need your help to locate Yedra Braceno, the prime suspect. Take a good look. Yedra Braceno is 40 years old, a Latino male. He usually wears his hair in a ponytail, but he may cut it shorter to alter his appearance. He also has a distinctive peak in his hairline and his left ear is pierced. And check out these renderings of Braceno's tattoos, created by the U.S. Marshal Service for America's Most Wanted. He has a DF on the left side of his chest, and his entire back is covered with a large angel skeleton.
Coming up, the trail of evidence and surveillance video leads police to their #1 suspect. Plus, a string of home invasions and burglaries has an Atlanta community on edge. But first, we need your help solving this case. Authorities in Houston are on the lookout for this man, accused of brazenly robbing 2 local businesses in a matter of minutes. First, at the Lucky Convenience Store in the 8900 block of South Braeswood Boulevard, the suspect demands money. It appears he has his hand in his waistband, possibly to signal a threat that he has a weapon. Watch as the suspect grabs the register and opens it himself, while the cashier tries to stop him from grabbing hundreds of dollars in cash. Money in hand, he leaves to his next heist. 5 minutes later, and a half a mile away, this scumbag then attempts to rob a grocery store. But this time, the clerk doesn't give him a dime. He exits the store empty-handed, but luckily surveillance cameras catch his face. Take a look. The suspect is a white male, early 40s. He was seen wearing a gray shirt, orange shorts with a Texas Longhorn logo on the bottom left, and a Texas A&M Aggies gray hat. He could be using a beard as a disguise. If you recognize this man, send us your tips. And remember, you can make a difference. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. Veronica DeNito's life was cut short in a savage attack. Her family was shattered. As if her loss wasn't painful enough, they got the devastating news on a day that should have been one of the happiest of their lives.
On Friday, January 15th of 2021, officers received a report of a structure fire. Fire department observed a female with a large gash across her neck. One of the neighbors informed the detectives that there was conversation taking place. They were familiar with the voice as being Renato, the boyfriend of the victim. At that point, Renato became a possible suspect in this homicide.
I had Maya, so I turned to Mariano, and he had this very, very worried face. So in that moment, it was like, something's wrong.
At that time, I was really in shock. I don't know what to do. And then I just, tell Hillary that Veronica was just not with us anymore.
I was holding my brand new daughter, Maya, when Mariano told me that my sister was killed. And I don't think I realized it like right away. And then they took the baby away from me. And then I don't remember much after that.
In this investigation of the homicide, cell phone records showed Renato at the scene of the crime within the time frame of we believe when it happened. An ignitable liquid was found within the carpet around the body, which detectives believe to be gasoline. Video surveillance from the local gas station revealed Renato purchased a red gas canister approximately a half hour before the 911 call from dispatch. Cell phone records showed he traveled to Crocker Amazon Park, where we located a vehicle in which we observed a red gas canister along with a large butcher knife, which revealed DNA belonging to the victim. Renato was observed enter a nearby vehicle, which belonged to an uncle. Renato and his uncle drove from Daly City to the U.S.-Mexico border on the same day of the homicide.
I think about her every day, and there's so much in my daughter that reminds me of her. Renato took so much away from me. You don't want people like this to be out on the street.
The way that he did all these things, I don't think he deserved to. Being free, you need to have justice.
It's just not right. Having to remember every single birthday of my daughter, it's too much. Sorry.
To help us understand what motivated this fugitive is Dr. Leslie Dobson, a forensic psychologist and podcaster who spent nearly 2 decades analyzing the minds of some very violent people. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
As a forensic psychologist, what do you think's going on?
I definitely think he shows this callous nature. The way that he killed her, cutting her neck, is so graphic and horrifying that you have to be detached from your emotions.
Right, a sociopath, but incompetent.
I think he was in panic mode.
Yeah.
And then, as you can see in the video, he actually buys gasoline to bring back to her apartment to burn the apartment down and hide the crime scene.
But he returned to the crime scene, which shows that the arson wasn't premeditated.
Yes, there was anger and he wanted to cover his tracks. Yeah. This wasn't planned out because the police still find her and they can identify her. So I'm thinking this individual is very impulsive.
Yeah, you know as well as I do how dangerous he is.
100%.
Do you think he's been carrying on his career while he's been on the run?
I think he identifies as a butcher. He has awards of being such a great butcher and very comfortable with knives.
And we heard that he's got family in the restaurant business in Mexico.
Yes, so he'd be in the back of a restaurant. He would be in the back of some place in charge of the meat, but still using his skill set in some way.
So I say to people all the time, if you're eating in a restaurant, just keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
People were sitting in a restaurant, an Irish pub, watching America's Most Wanted. We had profiled the guy that was working in a kitchen in a restaurant, and they made the call to us and to 911, and he got captured.
It's amazing.
So we need to tell people to be on the lookout.
Yes.
If you could talk to him for 2 seconds, what would you say?
A little girl's birthday will forever be associated with this alleged crime. Turn yourself in. Give them emotional justice.
I know very much. I've walked in the shoes of that family waiting for justice.
Right? It's called ambiguous grief, where we lose a limb, but we still feel like it's there. We lose a family member, but we don't know who did it exactly. We want justice, and then we can grieve.
And some of the pain of this family.
Yes.
Well, thank you for all the great advice. Thanks for being here. And hopefully something you said will get somebody to make that call. Thank you.
Cal, let's take a look at the trail investigators are following. After the fire was extinguished, the body of Veronica Donito was discovered in her apartment in Daly City, California. Shortly after, the suspect's phone connected to a cell tower in San Francisco, where investigators later located his abandoned car. Then, investigators tracked a family member driving Yedra Briseno across the border into Mexico, where he reportedly has family in Mexico City, some who work in the restaurant business. Authorities say he may have connections in Alabama as well. Veronica's family is desperate for answers and for justice. If you have any information on Yedra Briseno's whereabouts, call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to our site, amwtips.com.
Coming up, an Atlanta gang used social media to stalk and rob wealthy celebrities. Now, one of the lowlifes in this criminal posse is still out there. To help us unpack this case, rapper, Grammy-winning icon Lil Jon will join us right here. So stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. It was a high-stakes crime spree in one of Atlanta's wealthiest neighborhoods. Celebrities targeted, homes ransacked, luxury items stolen, and one innocent victim shot. Law enforcement took down most of this dangerous bling ring, but one of these dirtbags is still out there. We'll talk about all this with rapper Lil Jon in a moment. But first, take a look.
Sandy Springs is generally one of the more affluent, nicer places to live inside of the greater Atlanta area. Celebrities, athletes, when they're looking to put down roots in Atlanta, Sandy Springs is one of the top places they'll go.
Here in Sandy Springs, from 2021 to 2022, we noticed an uptick in home invasions.
Authorities learned the burglaries were all tied to a group of violent criminals known as the Drug Rich Gang.
These criminals, they did their homework.
This group would monitor social media pages for their targets, seeing whether or not somebody was home.
In July of 2022, the gang hit Real Housewives of Atlanta star Marlo Hampton's house while she was vacationing in Toronto. And the gang didn't stop there. After singer Mariah Carey posted pictures to social media, the drug-rich gang broke into her multi-million-dollar home in Sandy Springs, stealing some of her most prized possessions.
They took a Kobe Bryant jersey, custom microphone, designer clothing. The value of items taken from Mariah Carey was over $1 million.
As the gang continued terrorizing the city, 1 month later they targeted another house.
Multiple individuals that are armed, wearing ski masks, kick the door in.
But this time, things turned violent. Surprised to find a house sitter, these lowlifes shot the person, then fled in a panic. Luckily, the victim in that home survived. But as for the thieves, their luck was running out.
With the help of surveillance cameras, we were able to get the license plate number off the suspect vehicle. That is when the dominoes started to fall. One of the men that was in the car, we started to question him.
That scumbag rolled on his co-conspirators, and that's when police learned the gang's alleged leader was Jeremy Caldwell, a convicted criminal from Atlanta with a rap sheet that included burglary and weapons charges.
Through this investigation, we are able to see they were researching their targets. They were logging on to various real estate websites to see the layout of the home. In my 12 years of prosecution, I have not seen an organization as sophisticated in their planning. But this gang was playing with fire. Even though during the crime they may be wearing ski masks, they had no problem showing off on social media the items that were taken. That was part of their downfall.
I obtained a source. That source gave me information when the home invasion was going to occur. And through the source, they now were headed to South Florida to hit an NFL player who plays with the Miami Dolphins, and he lives close to the water.
But before their big score, these hoodlums had the bright idea to party on a yacht. As they popped their champagne, little did they know they were about to get popped.
Miami Metro-Dade staked the place out, and they apprehended Mr. Caldwell and one of the stolen watches valued over $100,000.
We ultimately indicted 28 people. The organization itself included dozens more.
The arrest of these highly sophisticated criminals made a dent in the drug-rich gang who stole millions from the peaceful community of Sandy Springs.
Mr. Caldwell had a small army of men that he used to do these home invasions.
And detectives are still on the hunt for a man named Karwan Mohammed, whose car was used in the Mariah Carey home invasion. This is the last piece of the puzzle to put an end to the gang's reign of terror.
We were doing everything to get these criminals arrested and off the street.
We're joined now by a music icon who's synonymous with Atlanta, who helped shape the sound of the city. Beyond music, his influence runs deep by bringing a voice to the most important stories in the community. Lil Jon,
thank you.
Welcome to America's Most Wanted.
Legend! It's great to be here, guys. What's up, brother?
Thanks for being here.
I've been a fan of America's Most Wanted since the very, very beginning. And like for me, I want to understand what makes people think they can get away with this stuff.
Right. Are you familiar with the Sandy Springs area?
Yes, I'm very familiar with pretty much all of Atlanta. I'm born and raised. This is the place you call home, the place you think is safe. You could leave your door unlocked, and now things like this are happening, and you're more alert. And
it was a hell of a wake-up call, wasn't it?
Yes, it is.
Many of the victims probably didn't even realize it, but they're putting out all this information in just a single social media post.
Right. It made us kind of be like, wow, like, okay, I need to watch what I'm posting. Maybe I won't even say where I'm going. And people kind of were really on guard.
I mean, this isn't over. I mean, people are still nervous, aren't they?
People are definitely still nervous because it wasn't just one type of celebrity. It wasn't just a rapper. It was all type athletes, all types of people were targeted in these crimes. And it just kind of put a little fear in the city and not knowing who they were going to get next.
You know, we've had a pretty good track record, America's Most Wanted. We've caught 1,200 guys in 45 countries. Wow. But what's it going to take to catch this guy? He's the last one left.
Just think it's just going to take one brave person to just step up and help to get this guy off the street so this doesn't happen to anyone else again.
Absolutely.
He's probably just had his head down, but eventually they all slip up.
You're right on that. This will be the last guy to catch. You know, you got to tell me, turn it down for what? What is it? Everybody wants to know what it means.
Turn down for what means like when the party's almost over and someone's like, yeah, are you going home? Go home for what? Or like, stop, slow down for what? No, we're going to keep going. We're going to turn it up for more.
We're going to turn it up, turn the heat up on this guy.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Exactly, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Police nabbed almost everyone in this crime ring, but there's one suspect still walking free. Take a good look at Karwan Mohammed. He's 33 years old, 5'7", about 200 pounds. He's bald with brown eyes. He's alleged to be part of these violent Atlanta area home invasions, but he's vanished and covered his trail. Let's help police catch up to him. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or hit us up on our site at amwtips.com.
Coming up, we'll take another look at the fugitives still on the run, suspects who think they can slip through the cracks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Let's recap some of our cases and the fugitives we need your help to catch.
Aaron Pennington is 34 years old, has blonde hair, blue eyes, and is 6 foot 2 inches tall, and he weighs about 175 pounds. Now, he was last seen in Gardner, Massachusetts, and is wanted in connection to the murder of his wife, Breezy. We really need your tips to deliver justice to Breezy's family and her 4 children.
Renato Yedra Braceno is 40 years old. Latino male, 5'7" and 170 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. He usually wears his hair in a ponytail, and he has a distinctive peak in his hairline, and his left ear is pierced. These renderings of Braceno's tattoos created by the U.S. Marshals show a D and an F on the left side of his chest, and a skeleton angel on his back. Authorities believe Yedra Braceno is hiding out in Mexico, where he reportedly has family, and he has possible contacts in Alabama. Wherever you live, be on the lookout for this dangerous fugitive.
We also told you about a ruthless crime ring in the Atlanta area and a car that was used in a string of violent home invasions. Tonight, we're on the hunt for the car's owner, Karwan Mohammed. He's 33 years old, 5'7", and about 200 pounds. He's bald with brown eyes. If you have any information, please don't wait. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or visit amwtips.com. Now, before we go, a look ahead to next week and a case we urgently need your help solving. It seemed like just another day at a crowded strip mall when a man walked up and fired 6 shots, killing a sanitation worker. Now his family is left without a father, and a fugitive has earned himself a spot on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. That's next week on America's Most Wanted.
Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Callahan Walsh. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
I'm John Walsh, and don't forget, you can make a difference. This dirtbag, he's getting caught today. I'm John Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after.
My son Callahan and I are fired up. With your help, we're coming for fugitives, hunting them down, and putting them right where they belong, behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. First, a 19-year-old National Guardsman ambushed and gunned down. In an AMW exclusive, the chilling surveillance footage that helped police ID a dangerous gang member suspected of his murder, Joseph Matos. Then, Catfish host Neve Schulman helps us decipher clues in a twisted case involving an accused wife killer using dating apps to stay one step ahead of the law. Donald Hodges is online and on the run. And finally, an 11-year-old girl vanished without a trace, allegedly hidden for years by her own mother. Elizabeth Smart joins us to examine new evidence and a major breakthrough in this 6-year-old mystery. Help us find Jennifer Settle. America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series. You can run, but you can't hide. Hello, everybody. I'm John Walsh, and America's Most Wanted is back. Back to give voice to victims with a relentless pursuit of justice. Back to give power to you, the viewers, to help us track down the most dangerous fugitives in America. And I'm excited to have my son Callahan by my side. He's always there.
Thrilled to be here. A lot has changed since my father began this fight in 1988. Thanks to your tips, 1,198 fugitives have been captured.
Ever since my 6-year-old son Adam was abducted and murdered, I pledged to go after lowlifes in towns and cities everywhere. For us, it's not just personal, it's a promise to never give up on trying to find answers for families and deliver the nation's most dangerous fugitives to law enforcement. Last season alone, with your help, we took these 7 fugitives down. Take a good look. Since our last episode, we've celebrated the arrest of suspected child molester Davy Albaran.
Thank you to America's Most Wanted and anybody who called in with the tip that helped get justice for my daughter. And we did it!
But the captures didn't stop there. We also put 6 more lowlifes behind bars. First, suspected serial stalker Jacob Smart was taken into custody in Washington State. Then, Taji Michael, wanted for the murder of Sacramento football star Najee Grimes, was arrested in North Carolina.
We want to thank the viewers of America's Most Wanted for helping us to bring justice for the Grimes family and ultimately bring Taji Michael to justice.
Then, convicted drug dealer David Young finally faced the music when cops busted him in Sonora, Mexico. Young was a member of the street gang allegedly responsible for selling the drugs that killed Dylan Jones. Authorities also put Tyler Wilkinson behind bars in Orange County, California. Wilkinson is suspected of selling the counterfeit pills that killed 17-year-old Brooke Badger.
Orange County Sheriff's Department is very grateful. We were able to ultimately get the tips in, which led to the arrest of Tyler Wilkinson.
And finally, U.S. Marshals arrested suspected kidnappers Luis and Andrea Ramirez and returned Lucito and Camila to their aunt.
But the fight goes on, and it's your loyalty and your tips that drive us to get these lowlifes off the streets.
We couldn't do it without the dedication of local, state, and federal law enforcement, along with some incredible advocates and survivors who fight for justice every day. One of them is Elizabeth Smart, a child abduction survivor ready to lend her expertise on an unsolved missing persons case. Every minute counts, so let's saddle up. Our first case tonight is a heartbreaking National Guardsman's murder. Just 19 years old, he was fresh out of boot camp, and he was shot and killed, not in battle, but simply because he went to a party in his hometown of Chicago.
Tonight, in an AMW exclusive, a never-before-seen surveillance video shows how the FBI ID'd 2 gang members suspected of the crime. And with your help, we can finally give a grieving family the justice they need.
19-year-old Chris Carvajal was an innocent bystander that was gunned down and killed on July of 2021. The 19-year-old victim was a National Guard member who had recently returned home from boot camp.
My name is Lourdes Lara. I am Chris Carvajal mom. Chris was a beautiful young man.
Happy birthday to you.
Chris was not only my son. Chris was my friend, my confidant, my baby.
Even though I'm the oldest, I feel like Chris was the leader of the pack. He was always the responsible one that you could go to for any advice. My mom did really good showing him like his morals and that we should always help others before we help ourselves. Chris was the first in our family to enlist to the National Guard and protect this country. His goal was to become a police officer. Chris came back after 9 months of basic training. We were so proud of him. and just so happy to have him back here. July 2nd, 2021, Chris decided to go out. He went to like a house party. He was enjoying the night, but apparently Chris needed to get something from his car.
The initial 911 call was a person calling shots fired. They also stated that they observed a male laying on the ground. I arrived around 2:30 in the morning. There was crime scene tape and patrol vehicles with their lights on, cordoning off the area. Shell casings were discovered where the shooting occurred. Our usual procedure is to start seeing if there are any witnesses and also identify any possible video of the crime. Video from a private surveillance camera actually caught the entire incident. It shows Chris run down the street by himself. As he's approaching the intersection, a red car approaches. Chris continues south towards his vehicle. That red vehicle moves forward a few feet, and an individual exits the passenger side and begins firing a handgun. When the officers responded to the scene, they discovered Chris lying face down, unresponsive on the sidewalk. And they then transfer him to Illinois Masonic Hospital, where he's eventually pronounced deceased by the doctor.
It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and my sister called me. I had a gut feeling that it was something like really bad with Chris.
That night, the detective said he passed away. He said, no, this can happen. He said, maybe you had the wrong person. He said, no.
Why him? He never got into fights, never had any type of altercation, so why him?
The fact that video shows the entire incident, it's critical. We were able to determine a license plate of that vehicle. We were able to run it in the Secretary of State database. We then see who the registered owner is. Joseph Matos. Matos had an extensive criminal history going back to 2001.
Matos was a member of the Milwaukee Canes, a notoriously violent street gang based on the northwest side of Chicago. Despite their small numbers, like most street gangs, there is a hierarchy, and Matos was widely considered to be the second in command.
I'm never gonna forget the 4th of July. Never.
To his killers, Chris was just some nameless random notch in their belts. But he has family. He was a soldier, a brother, a son with very big dreams and a bright future.
Please, we need your help finding Joseph Matos. Take a look at these important clues. Matos is a Latino male, 42 years old, 6 feet 2 inches tall, about 220 pounds, and goes by the nickname Troubles. It's like this guy is begging to get caught. Check out the tattoo Most Wanted across his abdomen, and he's literally wearing a sign around his neck. M-Town Kings on the right side, and the tattoo 1300 on the left side.
The FBI considers him armed and very dangerous, and they're offering a reward of up to $25,000 for any information leading to his arrest and conviction.
We have other critical details about this case we need to share with you. Plus, we'll talk to someone who's been on the inside, a former gang leader, about what fuels this kind of violence. Stay with us.
Coming up, we have a tragic story about a fugitive who will make you think twice before hitting like on a dating app. Neve Schulman from Catfish will join us to break down the risks of digital dating and how a dangerous predator could be hiding in plain sight. Plus, we've got a crucial new lead on a missing girl, allegedly taken by her mother after a bitter custody battle. But first, we need your help with this case. They say diamonds are forever. but not in this case, where 8 suspects robbed a jewelry store of $90,000 worth of merchandise in less than 20 seconds. It all started on January 6, 2025, at the Dubai Jewelry Store, located in the Greece Ridge Center Mall in Greece, New York. Watch as the first suspect leaps over the counter, immediately grabbing necklaces. Store employees try to intervene, but 5 more thieves rush in, overwhelming them. The suspects smash display cases with a baseball bat, snatch jewelry, and flee, all before security guards can stop them. 3 of the 8 suspects have been arrested. 5 remain at large. These scumbags wore masks and gloves. And take a look at this guy's sweatshirt design. Do you recognize it? If so, we want to know. Please send us your tips. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. 2 members in a Chicago-based street gang thought taking a life would earn them respect on the streets. Now we need your help to find this coward, Joseph Matos, so we can put him behind bars where he belongs.
Chris was on a right path in life. He did not deserve this.
Once investigators identified Joseph Matos as the owner of the red vehicle, they quickly determined he was the driver during the shooting. But finding out who allegedly pulled the trigger took more work. Through grainy surveillance footage, cell phone records, and interviewing witnesses, detectives uncovered the alleged shooter, another violent member of the Milwaukee Kings, Gary Roberson.
Carvajal had no ties to any gangs in the city of Chicago. Roberson allegedly shot at Chris Carvajal simply because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. The Kings are notoriously violent. They've been known to shoot first and ask questions later. The shooting was a way for them to either maintain or increase their status within the gang. Charges against Matos and Roberson include a lot of different acts of violence. It was determined that SWAT would be best suited to do these simultaneous hits. While SWAT was getting ready to execute the warrants, Roberson stepped out of his residence and was ultimately taken into custody by the surveillance team. Unfortunately, Matos was not located. He's got a myriad of tattoos to include 1,300 on the side of his neck, Heaven Sent, Hell Bound on his arms, and Most Wanted across his belly.
We need justice for Chris. We were very proud of him. We will always be proud of him.
We live 2 blocks from the cemetery, and I talk to him. I pray. And sometimes I feel better, sometimes it's hard. And his letters he always wrote to me. Mommy, today is Sunday. My faith and your prayers give me strength. I am so proud of myself to be an American soldier. I am so proud to be your son. Thank you for everything.
Joining us now is Tyrone Muhammad, a former gangster disciples leader who served 21 years in state prison, turned his life way around, and is now the executive director for Ex-Cons for Community and Social Change.
Thank you, John, for having me.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
You know this case. Generally, what could lead to a situation like this?
In this case, it seemed like a senseless killing.
Do gangs do a random murder like that for street cred, to get credibility on the street?
That does happen. From my understanding of evidence, I'm looking at a mistaken identity.
Yeah.
Where they was looking for someone in that particular area, and I think Chris fit that description.
Yeah.
And that's often how we operate. Where it's impulsive. We see somebody or we think that's a description, we go into action. And oftentimes you find out later that that was the wrong person. It's rather puzzling to me that it's his own car. It's just because it was too quick, too fast. That was something that Matos and them didn't even expect.
So they could track him through the car, right?
Absolutely.
Well, how do you think we catch him?
Matos, it would probably come from within his own clique in his own circle, especially given the fact that now there's a reward out for his arrest.
Someone from his own gang, maybe.
The reward is big enough. It denotes the seriousness.
And I know a lot of bangers watch this show. They watch it to see if their cousin's on it or some other gang, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
We've watched it.
yeah, you watched it. I don't need to know your name, where you live. Just tell me where the dirtbag is and we'll go get him.
Absolutely.
Cal, tell us about this creep.
Joseph Matos is a Latino male, 42 years old, 6 feet 2 inches tall, and about 220 pounds. Carvajal's murder occurred in 2021 in the Belmont-Cragen neighborhood of Chicago. He also has contacts in Los Angeles and Bedford, Texas. If you think you recognize someone who fits the description, don't approach him. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. The FBI is offering up to $25,000 for information leading to his arrest and conviction. And remember, your tips are anonymous and your identity is protected.
Coming up, a giant of a man with a violent past is accused of murdering his wife in cold blood, and he could be getting help from the people he meets on dating apps. But first, we need your tips to help us with this case. A brazen ATM theft in Toledo, Ohio. Watch as this maroon GMC truck, caught on surveillance video, drives up to the Toledo Urban Federal Credit Union carrying suspect number 1. Moments later, suspect number 2 arrives on the scene in a skid steer that was stolen from a nearby construction site. The perp then motions to the truck to loop around, making a critical error in the process, showing their face. But it's hard to make it out, so take a closer look. Watch as the skid steer tries several times to knock the ATM on its side, damaging it in the process. After 90 seconds, the ATM topples over, landing perfectly in the next lane, paving the way for the maroon truck to barrel through, stealing the ATM and all the contents inside. The skid steer was recovered, but these suspects remain at large. If anything here looks familiar to you, call us or go to amwtips.com. More cases after the break. Welcome back. While some fugitives have features that make them easy to identify, like tattoos, for others it's their size. In this case, the bad guy is also a big guy, a 6'6", nearly 300-pound man who's hard to miss, yet somehow he's disappeared. This towering dirtbag is accused of a brutal crime. Investigators say he allegedly murdered his own wife, leaving her family to make the heartbreaking discovery.
In the wee hours of May the 5th at 4 o'clock in the morning, there was a large man acting erratic.
Sir! Hey! Sir! There's somebody in here! Take the door! Listen.
During this incident, Charlotte PD had absolutely no idea that this person had allegedly just killed somebody.
Tanika was a very sociable and outgoing person. She was my godmother. My mom worked, so anytime my mom needed to call her for me and my sister, she was always there. She helped put me through college. She was very, very generous. She'd give you the clothes off her back. She was working at Flowers Baking here in Conover.
That's where she met Donald. That was the big mistake of her life.
Donald was very controlling. I mean, we couldn't even just go out to eat without him coming around.
He kept his eyes on them.
Donald had two sides. To Tanika, he was charming, loving, and supportive. But the family saw the other side of Donald.
I did warn Tanika, but she was already down too deep. Tanika and Donald were only dating for 8 months and then they got married. I mean, she's a grown woman. She's going to do what she wanted to do, but I was very, very worried.
May 5th, 2022, her friend called to tell me that Tanika did not come to work. She said, you need to go down there because something is wrong. And so I opened the door and I got to Tanika's room. I said, Tanika, Mama been trying to call you. She didn't say nothing. So when I run around on the side of the bed, that's when I seen the great big hole in her face. And I said, oh my gosh, my baby's dead, my baby's dead.
I just remember pulling up. The house is surrounded by caution tape, police everywhere. I just remember jumping out of the car and just running to my mama and hugging my mama. I feel like the world stopped.
We found a couple different shell casings, and then we realized the whole house was covered under video camera. So this led to a major breakthrough in the investigation. The video revealed that Tanika arrived home from work on the 4th of May. Tanika was never on another video, coming in or leaving from the home. Later on in the night, when we think that the murder took place, Mr. Hodges left in a calculated state. When we took a look at Mr. Hodges' background, it was evident that he was a convicted felon. He had weapons charges, he had assault charges. So when we put all the evidence together, Mr. Hodges was immediately a suspect.
But what investigators didn't know at the time was that 4 hours after Tanika's murder, Donald Hodges had entered a hotel 40 miles south in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey, my wallet's out there, man. I got your wallet.
He was acting erratic, scaring hotel employees, seemingly under the influence of drugs.
Why are you sweating so bad, man? No judgment or anything. Have you taken anything tonight? Yes, I have. Okay.
And when first responders on the scene asked him his name, he lied.
When law enforcement on site took a look in his wallet, they discovered his Social Security card. And that's when they discovered his name was. During this incident, Charlotte PD had absolutely no idea that this person had allegedly just killed somebody.
Donald Hodges is still on the run, and authorities need your help to track him down. Now he's 6'6", 273 pounds, with a muscular build. He's bald, has brown eyes, and typically sports a beard. Hodges has distinctive tattoos, including an OG on his chest. Now, coming up, investigators discover the way this scumbag might be getting help while he's on the run by using dating apps. This guy could be lurking in somebody's inbox right now. But before the break, we need your help solving this case. The nationwide manhunt rages on for a Texas man accused of opening fire at a popular sports bar, injuring 3 people. It all allegedly began when 48-year-old Laurice Evans, seen here in green, gets into a fight with not 1, not 2, but 3 security guards. A few hours later, Evans returns, now dressed in all black, but this time he's armed. The suspect fires 6 shots at close range, striking 3 people, including a security guard. When an off-duty deputy attempts to intervene, Evans allegedly turns and fires back, thankfully missing. Luckily, all 3 gunshot victims survived. Laurice Evans is 6 feet tall, weighing 180 pounds. He has distinctive tattoos, including 2 on his forearms, 1 reading Hood, and the other Rich. If you have any information about him, call us or go to our site. Let's get these dirtbags. Welcome back. When Charlotte Mecklenburg police responded to a disturbance at a hotel They didn't realize they were staring down a violent suspect, Donald Hodges, a man who allegedly killed his wife just hours earlier. Now this dirtbag, who's facing first-degree murder charges, is on the run.
And investigators have uncovered how Hodges might be staying one step ahead by using dating apps.
When law enforcement entered a hotel in Charlotte, they discovered Donald Hodges.
I feel like I'm about to pass out.
He told the first responders that he wasn't sober and wanted help. He was escorted to an ambulance and taken to Atrium Medical Center. Well, it wasn't long, and he decided that he was going to leave.
After a month of no leads, Conover Police Department believed Hodges had fled the area. So they contacted the U.S. Marshals Service to assist with the case.
As we started looking into Donald Hodges' life, we did uncover several dating websites that he had used before the homicide. Some of the dating profiles are known gay sites, so we know that he had almost like a chameleon effect, where he could blend in and meet people, make new friends very easily, and he used that to his advantage to take advantage of other people. As part of our investigation, we interviewed Hodges' previous girlfriend. We learned that during their relationship, he was abusive.
There were two sides to Donald. He was sweet, genuine, caring, loving guy. He paid my bills, he cooked, he cleaned, and then he'll turn into a demon. He strangled me, putting knives to my throat, telling me that if I ever tell anybody, I would never see my children again.
After ending the relationship in July of 2019, Monique placed a protective order against Donald, where she detailed his heinous abuse. While in court, Monique came face to face with the new woman in Donald's life, Tanika.
The last and final court date, I went to her and I shook her hand. She shook my hand extremely hard and placed her other hand on top of it. And she just stared, and then she let my hand go, and that was it. It was as if she was saying, I know exactly what you were going through. Donald is pure evil. Bringing Donald to justice would be everything to me.
He need to pay for what he did. It would take all this pain away. All of it.
Tanika meant everything to me. I want justice for her and to know that we didn't give up.
Someone knows Donald Hodges. Someone has seen him. Someone is engaged with him. We did uncover that Donald Hodges was not active on any of his known dating profiles after Tanika's murder. But we believe that Donald Hodges is still using dating websites to meet both men and women, possibly using a catfish method where he posts someone else's picture to his profile in order to evade capture. We need the public to be vigilant because he is dangerous and he is out there.
We're joined now by Neve Schulman, an expert on people who misrepresent themselves in online relationships. In fact, he documented his own experience of being deceived online that led to the hit TV show Catfish. With your expertise and knowledge in social media, why do you think Hodges is allegedly using these dating apps to stay on the run?
Social media provides a perfect landscape for him to not only make new connections in any city or town he might choose to go to, but also establish emotional connections with people to then prey on their vulnerability and get them to help him out.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Hodges is very good at winning people over. And unfortunately for Tanika, she learned the hard way that he can't be trusted.
What are some of the red flags that you've seen where people make connections to people they don't really know?
Let's start with something called love bombing. Oftentimes in new online relationships, people will very quickly give a lot of attention to this person in an effort to really get them to fall in love with them.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, if someone's avoiding meeting up or talking on the phone or FaceTiming for too long, that's also a red flag.
Right.
What happened with me was I met a family through MySpace, ended up developing a romantic interest in the older sister.
Mm-hmm.
What we discovered was that the 14 different profiles with whom I'd been speaking were actually all the creation of one woman.
All 14?
Yeah. She had created this entire world to communicate with me and escape her reality. People who are looking to get your sympathy and attention will come up with big stories about how they're sick. They get you to then feel sorry for them, and oftentimes that then leads to money, which is the last big red flag. Once they see that you're willing to send money, then they start asking for more, and the asks get bigger.
Sort of testing the waters with these low sums. The next thing you know, it's a few $1,000s.
And if you say no, you probably won't hear from them again. But if you say yes, they'll just keep coming back.
If someone sees Hodges, what should they do?
They should report on the platform the profile in question.
If see something, say something, doesn't it just apply to the real world?
No, yeah, absolutely. Online, it's really important that if you do see something suspicious, you report it.
Great advice. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks
a bunch.
Hodges is on the move. Let's take a closer look.
It starts in Conover, North Carolina, where he allegedly murdered his wife. Hodges may have moved north to Philly, where he has family. And there's New York City. Hodges reportedly brags about being from there and has family in that area as well. Take a look at him. Donald Hodges is 6'6", 273 pounds with a muscular build. He's bald, has brown eyes, and typically sports a beard. U.S. Marshals are offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to his arrest and conviction. If you spot him, call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, an important update on a case we brought you 4 years ago involving a missing girl, a mother on the run, and a grieving father desperate for answers. You don't want to miss what's next. Welcome back. Elizabeth Smart. You know her as a child abduction survivor. She was taken in 2002, held for 9 long months, and then went on to testify against her captors, which led to their convictions. Well, she's here to help us with a major break in a case we started tracking 4 years ago. It's a case that has haunted a father for years. His daughter, McKenna Butcher, was just 11 years old when she vanished, allegedly taken by a person meant to protect her, her mother.
The mother, Jennifer Settle, allegedly defied a judge's custody ruling, then disappeared without a trace, leaving McKenna's father desperate for answers.
Jennifer and I first met in 2005. We hit it off very well. She knew what she wanted in life, and we both agreed we'd like about 3 children if we could. So eventually we get married.
He adored her. This was his first marriage, and he had waited his whole life for her.
Jennifer got pregnant with McKenna very early. I love children, so we were both very happy. But after a few months, she started to change mentally.
She was very jealous and possessive. Jennifer insisted that Michael distance himself from any other female in his life.
A lot of these things are just not normal behavior, but you get sucked in because you try to do things to keep her happy. When McKenna came along, Jennifer was very protective.
Jennifer was very controlling. If she needed to hand something to McKenna, she would not allow me to do that. She insisted that McKenna must see it coming from her hand.
In 2008, when McKenna is only 8 months old, Jennifer separates from Michael and takes McKenna to live in Greenville, South Carolina.
I received a phone call from Jennifer announcing that she was moving herself and McKenna back to her parents in Greenville because we were running out of money and I had done nothing to provide for the family.
Jennifer convinced us that he was a danger to both her and McKenna.
She had to paint a picture of me as being abusive, as being manipulating, as being a liar. This gave her the excuse of why she'd undertaken the actions that she had.
She took McKenna and ran. She didn't want any child support because she said, no way, because that makes it so that he can come see her. He can get visitation.
She would not allow her child to go to school. McKenna was not allowed to have any other friends. Her mother was her only friend.
She stopped communicating with me so I could have no interaction with my daughter.
8 years passed before Michael was able to arrange supervised visits with McKenna. But to keep them, in 2019, he went to the authorities for help.
Michael took Jennifer to court because he wanted to see his daughter. He was eventually granted visitation rights, but Jennifer was not going to have that. The court determined that Jennifer was an unfit parent for McKenna. The judge was going to give total custody to Michael.
Jennifer had failed to show up at the court hearing. Based on that, an arrest warrant was issued by the family court.
Jennifer has torn our family apart. She took McKenna away from all of us.
It's been years now since I've seen my daughter. McKenna doesn't know that she's been brainwashed and mentally abused all these years, and I wanted to protect her from that. I've lost a child, and she's going to come back now as an adult. I'll have never held her hand or helped her across the road or, done all the things that dads do.
She's not had a normal life, and she's been cheated out of so many rich relationships. It's been heartbreaking.
I just want to see my daughter again.
Here to talk about the new lead and what it could mean in this heartbreaking case is someone who knows firsthand the horror of a child abduction, Elizabeth Smart. Beautiful lady, it's always great to see you. I always say the same thing, you're the bravest woman I ever met. And you helped bring back 2 kids last year.
Like, how amazing is it that we got to be a part of that? Camilla and Luisito were both found, and isn't that the miracle that we hope happens for every family who comes on this show?
Well, you were such a wonderful help and great working with you, but this is a heartbreaking case. How might Jennifer be keeping McKenna under wraps and under her control?
It is her mother, first off. I mean, I think as a child, you just naturally have faith and trust in your parents right from the get-go. I think of my own case, my captors controlled me within a matter of months. And if she has been homeschooling her and really grooming her all of this time, she's had a lifetime to control her.
McKenna is 17 now, but it's going to be harder to control this girl, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be harder. If McKenna has a strong bond with her father and she remembers her father in a positive light, she remembers him being there for her, loving her, protecting her, I think those memories will win out.
Right. It's a big search for this mother. How do you think she's staying out there so long?
So she does have marketable skills. She could work on cars. She has ability in construction.
And we learned that they were into horses beforehand.
Maybe that's one of her controls over McKenna is, I'm going to buy you this horse, but I need to make sure you're following the rules.
She could be working on a ranch to afford those horses. So we want people in the horse world to take a good look at this mother.
She's also very capable at manipulating other people's emotions. So it could be through boyfriends, intimate partners. It could also be through church.
She could be that poor, downtrodden mother with a child.
Exactly.
If McKenna's watching now, doesn't really know she's missing or anything, what would you tell her?
I hope she knows that there is millions of people who are looking for her and want to see her come home, want to see her in her rightful place. Everyone who watches this show, I hope they will take action if they see something suspicious. Miracles happen every day. Why not today?
Why not today? Cal.
The images we have of McKenna are back from when she was a child. McKenna would be 17 now, so take a good look at this new age progression of what she may look like today. We know she has blue eyes and brown hair. She was allegedly taken by her mother, Jennifer Settle, from Taylor, South Carolina in 2019. She has family in Greenville, South Carolina, but as we've just learned, she sold her vehicle to a man in a rural area outside Bozeman, Montana, so she could be living there with McKenna in that area. Settle has also lived in Tennessee, Colorado, and New Mexico, and has contacts in Maryland. Back to you, Dad.
Elizabeth, we're going to be seeing a lot more of you because we've got exciting news we want to share with you right now. Our mission just got a whole lot bigger. We're adding a brand new show to the AMW family. It all starts next week, right here on Fox. Take a look.
There is absolutely still hope that he's out there, that he's alive.
America's Most Wanted, Missing Persons, is coming next week.
Do you think it's a possibility she doesn't even know that she's a missing child?
And we need your help to bring the missing home to their loved ones.
That's why we're doing this. If we can help one family, it might make sense of it.
Next Monday on Fox at 8/7 Central, before an all-new America's Most Wanted. There's somebody out there that needs to be asked some hard questions.
We'll be right back. Let's recap some of our cases and the fugitives who need to be caught. Joseph Matos, or as he calls himself, Troubles, has tattoos that literally spell out Most Wanted. The FBI is offering up to $25,000 for the tip that puts him behind bars.
Donald Hodges, this oversized lowlife, is 6'6", 273 pounds, and allegedly is using his charm and possibly dating apps to manipulate people into giving him shelter and money. He also has distinctive tattoos, including OG on his chest. U.S. Marshals are offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to his arrest and conviction.
And finally, take another good look at this age progression of McKenna Butcher. She would be 17 years old today. She has blue eyes, brown hair, and was last seen in South Carolina in 2019 when her mother, Jennifer, allegedly took her and vanished. We've now learned Jennifer sold her vehicle to a man outside Bozeman, Montana.
If you have any information, don't wait. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or visit amwtips.com.
Now, before we go, let's take a quick look ahead to next week and a fugitive we're hunting for. It was a brutal crime with a fiery end. A woman is found dead in her apartment, but the flames can't hide the truth. Now the hunt is on for her boyfriend, who allegedly turned their romance into a deadly nightmare.
Thank you for watching. I'm Callahan Walsh. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
And I'm John Walsh. Remember, you can make a difference. Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals. Since 1988, we've caught 1,191 fugitives.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after,
including several of the FBI's most wanted. And we've reunited dozens of missing children with their families. But the job continues, and this time, my son Callahan joins the fight. With your help, we're going to put more low-life criminals behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. Up first, a nursing student vanishes in the night before her body turns up in the North Carolina woods, and the man suspected of killing her is on the run. Then, authorities bust a sophisticated drug ring on the East Coast, but one of its dangerous alleged traffickers manages to escape. We need your help to find Samuel Rhodes. And finally, a DNA match that shocks investigators on both coasts. Have you seen the man police say is wanted for this mother of five's gruesome murder? America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series. You can run, but you can't hide. I'm John Walsh.
And I'm Callahan Walsh. And this is America's Most Wanted.
Tonight, thanks to your incredible tips, the AMW catch counter is up to 1,192 captures. We put another dangerous fugitive behind bars. Now, 2 weeks ago, we asked for your help finding Davy Albaran. He went on the run after being charged with child abuse, molestation, and sexual battery of his own family members who were minors.
When his two adult daughters found out what he had done, they made it their mission to find him and get his victims justice.
So this is my father. He's Osceola's most wanted for his crimes against kids. When his last victim came out, who happened to be my daughter, everything came out. So I found out last year that my father hurt my knee. I got upset and I posted this on Facebook. Like, in a matter of hours, this was viral. I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who's been helping us and supporting us. That means a lot to my family and I.
Anna in John 80's story was so inspiring. I knew America's Most Wanted could help catch their father. What would you want to say to him?
How dare you? How dare you? I trusted you with what was most precious to me. You know, I just turn yourself in. That's all I can say. Turn yourself in. We're not going to stop.
He's on my personal top 10, and I never quit. We never quit.
Thank you so much.
After our show aired, tips started coming in, placing Albaran in the Tampa, Florida area, specifically in the town of Lakeland. Just before midnight on February 18th, authorities surrounded a house belonging to one of Albaran's relatives. 2 Polk County Sheriff's deputies and their canine partner caught Albaran in the backyard. Thanks to some quick police work, your tips, and the dedicated work of his own daughters, Davy Albaran was finally behind bars. Any scumbag who harms a child is nothing short of a monster in my book.
Davy's daughters, Anna and John Nady, are so grateful to all of you at home.
Thank you to America's Most Wanted and anybody who called in with a tip that helped get justice for my daughter. Thank you to John Walsh and to Callahan Walsh and to everybody there at America's Most Wanted. And we did it!
Now, that's one more fugitive off the streets, and we know tonight, with your help, we can get that number even higher. Now, to our first case.
A young woman immigrates to America to rebuild her life after a personal loss, then mysteriously disappears. She had a really bright future, studying to be a nurse, and made an impression on everyone she met, including the man allegedly responsible for a crime so callous, so brutal, it landed him a spot on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted.
Truck Quan Lai Lee, we know her as Sandy. She was from Vietnam and she came here to live with relatives in Charlotte after the death of her mother.
Sandy was a very good student. She was going to school at Queens College and she was studying nursing.
She worked at a Greek restaurant, a chain here called Shomars.
Everybody just had nothing but fantastic things to say about Sandy.
Sandy bonded quickly with her co-workers, especially Alex Castillo, who she started dating. Their relationship ended in April 2016, when Sandy stopped working in the restaurant to focus on school and continue her dream of becoming a nurse.
On August 9th, Sandy told her family she was running out about 8:45 at night to the local store to pick up something. They were very troubled when she didn't return home because Sandy is very accountable. This just is not like her.
When Sandy didn't return home the next morning, her family filed a missing persons report.
Detectives started looking through Sandy's iPad, and we discovered some conversations between Sandy and Alex. Sandy had loaned Alex $1,000 about 2 months prior. She wanted her money back. On August 9th, he communicated, hey, I got your $1,000. Let's meet up.
As we follow up on Sandy's bank records, we recognize that the night that Sandy goes missing, one of her cards has been used at an ATM to make a large withdrawal.
She withdraws another $1,000. That stumps us because the original meetup plan from Alex was to return money, yet she is at the ATM withdrawing more money. But she does not appear to be under any duress.
2 days after Sandy's disappearance, and with still no leads, police and family members continued their search of the greater Charlotte area. Meanwhile, 2 other Shomars employees are also reported missing by their families.
Charlotte Mecklenburg 911. I want report I lost my son. No me contesta el teléfono. Su teléfono está apagado.
Alex Castillo and Amia Feaster, who Alex was now in a relationship with, have not returned home or responded to calls and texts in almost 48 hours.
When 3 young folks go missing at the same time and there's no explanation, it's not just family members that become concerned. That certainly starts sending up alarm bells for us as well.
Then on August 13th, 4 days after Sandy's mysterious ATM withdrawal, and 2 days after Alex and Amia go missing, the investigation makes a shocking turn.
Alex and Amia call their parents individually and let them know that everything's fine, but at no point are they able to explain really where they've gone to and where's Sandy.
Alex and Amia say they've hit the road, They were last seen here at a QT gas station on the east side of Charlotte on August 10th at 4:33 in the morning. But since Alex was the last person believed to see Sandy in person, detectives think the couple could be hiding what they know about her disappearance.
The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department reached out to the FBI to assist in a missing person investigation. We gathered information from speaking to relatives of Amia and Alex, and that they were trying to go see his father in Aguascalientes, Mexico.
We obtained video of them crossing over the border.
You see Alex and you see Amia. It looks like they were packed, ready to go. It was planned.
With confirmation that Alex and Amia crossed into Mexico, detectives still needed to find Sandy.
Charlotte police utilized every possible resource from the helicopter, canine, patrol, you name it, to actively look for Sandy. Based on phone records, Sandy received a text shortly before midnight on August 9th. And from that, we were able to track her last location. And we were able to zone in on an area close to the woods in Harrisburg, North Carolina.
On August 17th, a day after Alex and Amia escaped to Mexico, and 8 days after Sandy made her fateful ATM withdrawal, investigators make a shocking discovery deep in the Carolina woods.
Sandy's body was discovered. Sandy had been shot in the back of the head. This was now a homicide investigation.
Those are the words that no parent, no family member ever wants to hear, because when someone you love goes missing, you hold on to the hope that they're out there alive.
And that's why we talk about this so much at the National Center. Time really is of the essence. If you believe your child or teenager has gone missing or has been abducted, call local law enforcement immediately.
Now, when we come back, a planned escape and surprise betrayal that gave investigators a lead they weren't expecting. Plus, the FBI is offering a $25,000 reward for information that will lead to the arrest of this man, an alleged key figure in a large-scale international drug ring. And later on, two thieves in Tampa target multiple valet stands, stealing the keys and driving off with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of luxury cars. Help us find these creeps before they do it again. And remember, you can make a difference. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. Now, before the break, we saw a missing persons case turn into a homicide investigation. And the two people who were thought to be with her became fugitives, and one of them wanted for murder. So let's see why police need your eyes and ears now more than ever. 2 months have passed since Sandy Lee was found murdered deep in the Carolina woods. Their co-workers, Alex Castillo and Amia Feaster, escaped to Mexico. But as the pair try to evade authorities, troubles arise.
Amia Feaster was living with Alex's family in Mexico. She did not speak the language, and it was a lot different than she was accustomed to. In the beginning of October, it's believed that Alex left her. Here she is with a family that she doesn't know, no money, and I think she missed home. Amia Feaster turned herself in. And from there, we coordinated the apprehension to get her back to the States. She does admit that she did drop Alex off to meet Sandy. A robbery was planned. They were already packed. They were already ready to go to Mexico. There is text exchange between Alex and Amia. Alex was telling her to hold on, that he was doing something with the evidence. She 100% knew that Sandy was dead. So Amia Feaster was charged with accessory after the fact of a felony, which is the murder of Sandy. We are still looking for Alex.
To the best of our knowledge, we believe that Alex is still in Mexico. We know that he's got a strong support system there.
Sandy was just a phenomenal person. This case was senseless. It was brutal. It was calculating. And this one here is one that will always stay with me.
I don't think Sandy's family will ever lose hope in Alex being apprehended and brought to justice.
We're joined now by Joe Petito, who, like me, knows the pain of losing a child all too well. Joe, thanks so much for being here.
No problem, John.
Good to
Appreciate
see
it.
you.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Now, social media had a big part to find Gabby. And in our case tonight, it's surveillance. You know, Joe, that surveillance video is what helped track Castillo to Mexico. And pinging Sandy's phone helped find her body. These are new techniques that are so helpful. Technology has really changed the game, hasn't it?
It does make a difference. Social media was a huge impact on helping us find Gabby, you know, and it's a huge tool that people can leverage to find their missing loved ones. And the more you can try to get that exposure out there, the better your chances would be.
Now, you founded the Gabby Petito Foundation in 2021 after your daughter went missing. And I know you work with local groups as well, searching for missing children. What can communities do in cases like that to help?
The more exposure you get, the more people that get, you know, that have eyes on these missing flyers, the more that gets shared. The more that gets shared, the more maybe local or even national news will pick up those stories. And that's what you really want. And that's why stories and stuff that you guys do is important, because it gets, you know, their faces out there. Like the one that we're talking about here, getting his name out there and a picture out there on a national, you know, broadcast is hopefully going to have that huge impact to find him and bring him to justice, because Sandy's family deserves that.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about.
Investigators told us that Sandy's family found some comfort in the fact that her body was able to be recovered. What would you tell her family? How do they keep going?
You and I talked about this. How do you take a tragic loss and deal with it?
No, that's it. You actually gave me some of the best advice, you know, during that time. And you can go down that dark path, or you can go to kind of what you do, the pain into purpose type of deal, you know, and really try to focus on healing that way. And that's something that I do. That would be my recommendation. I don't know what's going to work for them. And to be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out myself.
God bless you for what you're doing. Your daughter's up there going, go, Dad, go, Dad.
I hope so. You know, I'm hoping at the end of the day, after all the work that we do collectively together and all the help that everyone got and all the support, it's got to continue for others.
Well, keep up the good work. You're making a difference. We're proud of you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for being here.
Cal, thank you very much.
Have you seen Alex Castillo? Alex Castillo is wanted for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for murder. He's got black hair and brown eyes. He's 5'6", and at the time he was last seen, weighed about 185 pounds. He'd be 25 years old now, and we have an AMW age progression of what he may look like today, both with and without facial hair. Authorities have a strong reason to believe that Castillo is hiding out in Mexico, but he may be in Aguascalientes, where he has family, or the Mexican states of Guanajuato or Veracruz. It's also possible he's made his way back to the States. He has ties to Phoenix, Arizona, and his last known residence was in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives, and they're offering a reward of up to $250,000 for information that leads to his arrest. Doesn't matter if you live in the U.S. or are friends in Mexico. If you have any information, remember, you can always remain anonymous. Call us or go to our site, 866-AMW-TIPS or amwtips.com.
Coming up next, a small town in West Virginia becomes an unlikely epicenter for narcotics trafficking. And in the middle of all of it, one man who police need your help to find. Have you seen Samuel Rose? And later on, a woman is murdered on the East Coast, and the DNA from the scene links the suspect to an assault 5 months earlier on the opposite side of the country. And the dangerous suspect is still out there. But first up throughout the show tonight, we'll be featuring local crimes that we need your help to solve, maybe right where you live. Police need your help tracking down a pair of suspects who have recently stolen luxury vehicles from more than one valet in the Tampa, Florida area, and possibly up to 5 related incidents. Watch this surveillance video of the pair from last summer, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, casing the unattended valet stand before brazenly grabbing the keys in plain view of everyone around them. Take a good look. Without anybody suspecting, one locates the car in the lot and waits for his buddy to drive right out of there. Here they are again a month later, helping themselves to keys from the valet stand before hopping in another car that doesn't belong to them and driving away. Police say these two may be allegedly responsible for 5 different incidents of vehicle theft, including a Land Rover Discovery, a Mercedes C63, and a Lamborghini. If you've seen either one of these lowlifes, call us or send us your tips right now. 866-AMW-TIPS or amwtips.com. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. Now, the number one goal for AMW is to find fugitives, but also to find as many missing children as we possibly can and reunite them safely with their families. So this week, we need your help to find 13-year-old Noelle Sophie Zizi. Noelle's from Kennesaw, Georgia, but maybe in Dallas, Texas. She has brown eyes and black hair. And when she was last seen, she was 4'1" and weighed between 90 and 100 pounds. Noelle went missing in October 2021. So if you've seen Noelle Zizi, please call us or send your tips to 866-AMW-TIPS or amwtips.com. Let's get her home safe and back with her family where she belongs. Cal, over to you.
Martinsburg, West Virginia is known for its historic past. Walking down Main Street, you'll find buildings standing from the 1700s. But these days, the small town feels different, dangerous, and has become a breeding ground for drug traffickers.
Martinsburg, West Virginia is a very friendly, close-knit town, about an hour and a half from Baltimore, Maryland, and about the same proximity from Washington, D.C., where you really do get to know your neighbors. Unfortunately, our proximity to the cities makes us an easier target in the drug epidemic in our area.
But with a high level of addiction in this state due to its bad job market, dealers and suppliers in large cities look at us as a cash cow in a sense. A lot of the local dealers that we see in West Virginia are children that grow up in the juvenile justice system that we've dealt with when they were students, engaged in low-level drug transactions, and as they become adults, they become higher-level drug dealers, like Sammy Rose. Samuel Rose is a community member that grew up here in Martinsburg. He's a very intelligent person who used that high level of intelligence in his criminal activity.
And unfortunately, we've had dealings with Sammy Rose through the years.
He's been involved in violent crimes for years.
In 2000, he committed armed robbery, pistol whipping an individual.
In 2007, Samuel Rose was selling crack. He was prosecuted federally, was sentenced, and he ended up serving approximately 8 years imprisonment. When he was in prison, Samuel Rose's drug connections increased and grew. So when he was released after serving his sentence, the 8-year hiatus actually increased his drug dealing in the area. We started to investigate using a confidential informant who could directly purchase from Samuel Rose.
Those controlled purchases allow us to follow through surveillance and learn that Samuel Rose was accessing larger quantities of narcotics than we had known him to access before his arrest.
Eventually, we are able to apply to the court for a wiretap on his cellular device. And that really gave us a breakthrough in being able to determine the breadth of his drug trafficking network. There would be calls to obtain cocaine, lining up where these transactions would occur.
Where you doing this at? Or did you get this out yet? Well, I'm about to come on your side now. Send me the addy.
That ended up leading us to an appliance business in Hagerstown, Maryland, known as Top 3 Sources. Top 3 Sources looks like an appliance store that could be on any street in America. They advertised that they would sell on credit, they had a showroom, and they also had a seemingly legitimate bank account. And through surveillance of Top 3 Sources, we saw appliance shipments at odd hours of the night. And it appears that shipments are coming from a connection within the Dominican Republic. So that was suspicious.
We intercepted communications regarding drugs being trafficked from the Dominican Republic. We learned that the organization was concealing the drugs in the appliances, washing machines, dishwashers, dryers, refrigerators, often concealed in the frame of those appliances. Those appliances are then packed into large sea containers, shipped up to a port here in the United States. Those sea containers are loaded onto trucks and then transported to Hagerstown, Maryland, where Top 3 Sources was located.
Through our investigation, we learned that Sammy would obtain large sources of supply and distribute them in the Martinsburg area.
At this point, we understand that Samuel Rose is a member of a much larger organization.
The owner of Top 3 Sources was identified as Lennon Erasmo Lunamoto, also known as Poppy. He was at the head of the drug trafficking organization. His right-hand man was Juan Manuel de la Rosa Tejada, and he was known as Little Poppy.
In this organization, Sammy Rose plays the role of the West Virginia drug distributor. It's a huge role for the organization because all the money that comes from places like Martinsburg, West Virginia, makes its way into the organization through the drug sales of Sammy Rose.
At this point, we had been involved in the investigation for almost a year. We learned that Top 3 Sources had residential units, and at least one housed Little Poppy. So we were able to obtain a search warrant for Top 3 Sources. When officers search, they find a significant amount of drugs stored in the appliances. There was approximately 1 kilogram of fentanyl, a significant quantity of crack, and then also about 8 kilograms of cocaine.
Arresting Little Poppy was a huge accomplishment. Taking that individual out of the equation was going to have a huge impact for this organization's activities here in West Virginia. The next step is to remove Samuel Rose.
We're seeing an unprecedented crackdown on high-level drug traffickers right now.
Last year, in what they called Operation Blue Lotus, Homeland Security seized 900 pounds of fentanyl and 600 pounds of methamphetamines at the southwest border. And keeping that off the streets, well, that's tremendous, because it's not just this poison, it's what comes with it. Violent crime, illegal gun trafficking, and death. It's a whole package.
Which is exactly why we need your help finding Samuel Rose.
Now, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, officers have put their lives on the line to bring down Rose's operation in a risky raid. We'll see what happens next. Then, he acted alone, changing his identity, keeping a stunning secret for his entire life, a case we even featured right here on AMW way back in 2010. Bank robber turned fugitive Ted Conrad. You won't want to miss this. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. Now, before the break, authorities had tracked a West Virginia drug ring all the way to the Dominican Republic, a sophisticated operation using appliances to hide and transport the supply. And they were preparing a risky raid, looking to bust Samuel Rose and the men he was working with. Let's see how it all went down.
The amount of drugs seized from the Top 3 appliance store was easily over $500,000 worth, just in one particular day of what this business was doing.
Ultimately, we were able to indict 34 individuals in this investigation, to include Sammy Rose. When our officers went out to effect his arrest, we were unable to locate him. At that time, we realized that Sammy Rose is on the run.
2 years after the indictment, in September of 2023, the owner of Top 3 Sources, Lennon Erasmo Lunamoto, also known as Poppy, was finally found and arrested in the Dominican Republic, and he was sent to the United States to face charges.
Sammy Rose is the last major player from this organization that we've yet to apprehend.
We know he has family and friends in the area, so we do not believe that he would stray far from some type of support network.
The FBI has put forth a reward in the amount of $25,000 for any information that leads to the successful apprehension of Sammy Rose. He's been involved in drug trafficking. He's been involved in violent crimes. We believe Sammy Rose is a very dangerous individual. He's on the run, and he does not want to be apprehended. That's why this is very important to us that we can get this threat off of the streets.
Now we're joined by someone who knows firsthand how drug trafficking works and has put many of these types of criminals behind bars. Former DEA agent Bill Bodner.
Great to be here, guys.
Nice to meet you, and congratulations on 32 years on a really dangerous job. What's the craziest case you ever did?
You know, one of the funniest things I was ever involved with was in the 90s. A group from the Medellin cartel, they were smuggling cocaine from Los Angeles to New York. They had purchased Willie Nelson's old tour bus at an auction, complete with the Highwaymen mural on the back, and they used that every week to run hundreds of kilos of cocaine from LA to New York.
So ingenious some of these guys are.
The ingenuity in smuggling is almost without limits. They will do anything that works. Using appliances, using any kind of heavy equipment, industrial equipment, something that's not really going to be searched because it looks so innocent, and it's able to be packed in a container and shipped by freight.
In this case, the drug ring was out of the Dominican Republic. They were highly sophisticated. What kind of manpower does it take to run an operation like that?
It takes a lot of manpower. Like, this is obviously a large, complex organization, and we saw the indictment of 30-plus individuals. That's a lot of work to put that type of case together.
How crucial is Rose's alleged part in this drug ring?
It's extremely crucial, John. He is the man. He's the one that can convert the drugs to cash. Don't forget, these are greed-based businesses. The real reason they're doing this is because they're greedy. They want to make money. He's the one that has the customers, and he can turn that product into cash. He's a valuable person in this conspiracy.
Back in the day, it was the big boys only. Now it's into these little towns, and it devastates these towns.
Especially in West Virginia. I mean, they were hit hard by the prescription opiate epidemic in the late 90s, early 2000s. And as a nation, as we tightened up on the prescriptions, the demand was still there. So what happened? The drug dealers recognized that, and they started stepping in, filling that void since that time.
We know Rose had most of his ties in West Virginia. In your opinion, do guys like him stay in that area where he has connections, or do you think he's on the run somewhere else?
He's probably in the Middle Atlantic region, Cal, and I suspect that he's got a taste of the life from drug trafficking. If he needs money, he's going to still be involved in drug trafficking, probably working with some of the contacts he has in the area.
So you think he's still involved in this now?
He very well could be.
Well, thank you for your hard work.
And thank you for what you do. You got me interested in law enforcement in the late 80s, and that's why I had the career I had.
Fantastic. Thanks for your hard work all these years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Samuel Rose is 43 years old with black hair and brown eyes. He's 5'8", and when he was last seen, weighed about 165 to 190 pounds. He has a scar on his stomach and a barbed wire tattoo on his left arm. Rose is facing multiple felony drug charges, including aiding and abetting the distribution of heroin and fentanyl. He has close ties to Martinsburg, West Virginia, and the surrounding areas of Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, and Prince George's County, Maryland. If you see Rose or have any idea where he might be, do not approach him. He's considered armed and dangerous and has a history of violence. Call us or send us your tips now at 866-AMW-TIPS or amwtips.com.
Next, a murder in Maryland is linked to an assault 4 months earlier way across the country in Los Angeles. Can you help us identify this dirtbag? Plus, a dying confession unlike any other. This fugitive reveals his real identity to his family. All this when we come back.
Last August, a 37-year-old Maryland mother of 5 went for a hike and never came home. She was reported missing, and the next day was found brutally murdered in a wooded area just off the hiking trail. When authorities collected and ran the DNA evidence that was found on her body, it was linked to an assault case that happened all the way across the country in Los Angeles just a few months prior. Can you help us find the man responsible for both?
Rachel, I know that when people looked at her, they saw how pretty she was, but what made her special was the part of her that shined through. Her personality. She was very kind and loving, very outgoing, always laughing.
Rachel Morin was a single mother of 5 kids who ran her own business, a cleaning company. And on August 5th, 2023, she headed out on the Ma and Pa Trail around 6:30 in the evening. When she didn't come home, her family knew right away that something wasn't right. The next day, her car was found, still parked at the trailhead. And soon after, so was her body.
We're never going to be able to have Rachel back. Our children are never going to have a mother to watch them grow up. It's broken our family apart.
Since Saturday, August 5th, 12 days ago, the Harford County Sheriff's Office has been working around the clock to get justice for Rachel Morin and hopefully bring peace to her family.
Authorities didn't have much to go on, but they collected DNA samples from Rachel's body. This DNA was put into the National DNA Database used by law enforcement, and what they discovered next would baffle everyone.
This DNA evidence has come back as a match, tied to a home invasion and assault of a young girl in Los Angeles this past March.
Hartford police were shocked to find that Rachel's killer had left a DNA trail behind in South Los Angeles. They learned that on March 26, 2023, he had entered a Los Angeles home and attacked a young girl. He was captured leaving the house by a home surveillance camera. The suspect left behind a hat, which is how the LAPD was able to obtain his DNA.
Not to have any real definite information about what happened to Rachel. It's like we have no hope. We have no closure.
These victims and their families deserve justice, and we need your help to get it. Now again, the first incident tied to this suspect happened in Los Angeles on March 26th of last year. 4 months later, on August 6th, Rachel Morin was found dead along the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air, Maryland. And the DNA from that crime scene matched the DNA from the incident in LA. This was a mother who left behind 5 kids. It's very possible that there are more victims out there. But recently, authorities released a couple sketches of the suspect, so take a good, long look at this guy. In one of them, he's wearing a hat, similar to the one left behind at the crime scene in Los Angeles. He's described as a male in his 20s, who's 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs about 160 pounds. There is a $35,000 reward for any information that leads to the identification and arrest of the man that murdered Rachel Morin. Please, if you know anything, contact us immediately. Do the right thing. Call 866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. And we have a very interesting vault case this week. Dad?
Now this one is pretty special. In 1969, Ted Conrad walked out of the Society National Bank with a paper bag containing $215,000. More than 50 years later, as he lay dying, his daughter Ashley was shocked to find out that her father had committed one of the biggest bank robberies in the history of Cleveland, Ohio, and had lived his entire life under a different identity to avoid arrest. We're going to talk to her about this mind-blowing discovery and what it meant for her family. But first, take a look at this clip from an episode of America's Most Wanted that aired in 2010.
Another fugitive who could be anywhere tonight is Ted Conrad. An all-American kid with boyish good looks and charm to match, Conrad grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. In 1969, he got a summer job.
Ted Conrad had been the vault teller at Society National Bank.
But he had bigger dreams.
Ted Conrad had been obsessed with a movie known as The Thomas Crown Affair. And his friends tell us he watched it at least 6 times. And the movie was all about a bank heist. And it appears that Ted Conrad may have modeled himself after that.
According to the FBI, on July 11, 1969, Conrad left the bank with his lunch bag. Inside of it, $215,000. When tellers realized the money was gone, they noticed Conrad was missing too. The daring robbery made national news, but Conrad vanished. If you know where Ted Conrad's hiding, please call our hotline to take him down.
Now we're joined by Ashley Randall, Thomas Randall, a.k.a. Ted Conrad's daughter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, Ashley. You know, for 52 years, your father hid his identity, was running from the law. I mean, you had no idea this was going on.
We had no idea. My dad was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer in the spring of 2021. And about a month before he passed away, he said, "Ladies, I changed my name when I moved here. The authorities are probably still looking for me."
And you two passed out. No, what?
We thought at first it was a weird dad joke, like trying to lighten the mood. I Googled him that evening, and I just found page after page of, vault teller robs bank. He's been missing for 50 years.
Right.
U.S. Marshals were looking for him. That was terrifying to me, that he was still actively being hunted. It was heartbreaking because it felt like the guy I knew was being erased by one day in his life.
Did you ever find out what he did with the money?
By the time he got together with my mom in the late 70s, the money was gone.
So, Ashley, how did the Marshals piece it all together?
Somebody, I still don't know who, sent my dad's obituary to a crime writer in Ohio, who then passed that along to the marshal. And then I believe that they matched handwriting samples from my dad's college applications, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then my parents filed for bankruptcy in 2014, so they had his signature on public record there.
Were there any signs that your father was capable of something like this, eluding law enforcement for as long as he did?
Absolutely not. He was just the best dad.
Yeah.
Somebody who drove me to school every day. He made my lunch every day. He was the dad that's there for you. But him being fluent in French and keeping that a secret is somehow more shocking than him being a fugitive.
He spoke fluent French and you guys didn't know the whole lifetime?
He helped me with my French homework the way any parent who doesn't speak French
never started spouting out in French.
No. The one thing I have from him was when I was learning to count, he would say the way to remember 16 is because when you're 16, you says everything. That's his French knowledge he imparted on me.
He's got to be the most disciplined fugitive I've ever heard of. Well, thank you for having the guts to come here, clear up all this mystery. We profiled your dad on America's Most Wanted, so it closes that chapter, and I'm glad he didn't go on to a life of crime or hurt anybody else.
As am I.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
When we return, a recap of all the dangerous fugitives from tonight's show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Horrifying surveillance video of a midday murder in cold blood. It happened last September on the 7300 block of 19th Street in Philadelphia. Police have now ID'd the shooter, 39-year-old Rodney Zellers, and need your help to find him as soon as possible. Watch as the suspect gets out of a 2012 blue Ford Edge, makes his way across the street to the 26-year-old victim, gun in hand. From another angle, we see Zellers walk right up to the victim and fire several shots, striking him several times in the torso before running back to the 2012 blue Ford Edge with PA tags, LLM 6974, where an unknown female driver is waiting for him. As soon as Zellers gets in, they quickly flee the scene. The victim died from his injuries soon afterward. Philadelphia police are offering a reward of $20,000 for any information that leads to the arrest of the suspect, Rodney Zellers. Take another good look at him. He's a 39-year-old black male, 5 feet 9 inches tall, and weighing 350 pounds. You seen this scumbag? If so, send us your tips. 866-AMW-TIPS or amwtips.com.
Now, if you know anything about any of the fugitives you've seen tonight, please do the right thing and contact us immediately. Alex Castillo is one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. He's now 25 years old and is 5'6" with black hair and brown eyes, and when last seen weighed 185 pounds. He may currently be in Aguascalientes, Mexico, or in the states of Guanajuato or Veracruz. He also has ties to Phoenix, Arizona. We have age progressions of what Castillo may look like today, and there's a reward of up to $250,000 for information that leads directly to his arrest.
Now, Samuel Rose is 43 years old with black hair and brown eyes. He's 5'8", and when last seen weighed between 165 and 190 pounds. He's got a scar on his stomach and a barbed wire tattoo on his left arm. Rose has ties to Martinsburg, West Virginia, and the surrounding areas of Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Prince George's County, Maryland.
And finally, this unidentified suspect linked to an assault on a young woman in Los Angeles and the murder of Rachel Morin. Take a really good look. He's a male in his 20s who's around 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs around 160 pounds. DNA evidence puts him in Los Angeles in March and in Maryland as of August 2023. But authorities think he could be anywhere, and police need your help.
And remember, even the smallest tip could break these cases wide open, so please, stay on the lookout.
If you have any information about these cases, call us or go to our website now, 866-AMW-TIPS or amwtips.com. I'm Callahan Walsh.
And I'm John Walsh. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, you can make a difference. Good job.
贾克斯的天赋的话，我带着征服者。我带着征服者，我没带不灭之物。多兰顿出门的瓦豪的话呢，气势上来说有点弱了啊。一级的话，咱们先对 A 啊，开 E 啊 ，A 晕住啊，扭过去，不要被他的这个中间的伤害打到就行。我们带的有骸骨，他一级 W 比我们一级 E 技能 CD 要稍微要慢不少啊，所以的话，咱们在 E 技能 CD 快好的时候，就可以主动上去换血了。你比如像这一波摸一下啊，开 E 摸晕住，哦哟。这有点不太对呀、他 CD 咋比我快那么快？啥意思啊？瓦豪 W 一级现在多少秒 CD 啊？好久没有看到我的一个葵花宝典了。这感觉跟我想着不一样呀。我一级17秒 CD， 他一级 W 跟我是一级 CD 感觉差不多呢，还是削了。我没人给你抢啊！这时候没有无情连打被动，有点小虚，你知道吧？直接开 E 啊！晕住往后拉，A 下接 W，蜘蛛来了，摸眼 Q， 升天交闪，他跟闪，我死，这样我心里边会点敌人，信不信？我连我的死亡都可以预测，对吧？这就是高手。无敌解说，那你按正常流程它是这样的呀，因为你看你按照你这种说法你就必死了，你为什么要交闪？蜘蛛万一他对吧，他不交闪你不就跑掉了吗？对不对？他交闪他拿闪换你命，你也确实来讲也没有办法，对不对？对面打野来了你还不能让人家抓吗？只能说我们太弱，不能1v2，对不对？所以他抓你。这样的话，瓦豪比我多一个闪现。这波小兵比较多，回推线，W 先狙一下，直接开 E 摸，晕住摸跳过去摸接 W， 再摸 W 接 Q， 喜欢皮，给你机会你不中用呀，老弟，对不对？他这波的话，上波好像他没交 T， 他这波好像有 TP 的，对。所以这波单杀的话，其实他没有想中亏那么多。如果这波没踢的话，兵线进塔这小子炸了。哎呦，哥们儿，你咋又来了呀？你是魔鬼吗，兄弟？你这打游戏打的就很没有意思了呀，兄弟。一会儿的功夫你能来800趟，我的宝贝儿。这么晚，这么晚。不好玩了，兄弟。软柿子还是菜，知道吗？不能1v2。 才得多练。好了，抗压，不打架了。那你妈啊！不是吧，兄弟，还要抓呀，兄弟！得亏这波的话对面没伤害，我以为我要死了。哎呦，算了算了，交 TP， 这 TP 省不了了。太难了呀，兄弟们，太难了，这怎么玩呀？对吧？这把队现在不是晚豪，是朱豪呀。不得给我越了吧？哦，还好，只要不越他，啥事都好商量。虽然这个蜘蛛已经抓了我3波了，对吧？但是我不怪他，对吧？站在打野的立场来讲，他我是什么意思啊？啊，不是吧？不是疯了？什么意思啊？爽！这马豪有点大病，我说实话，这蜘蛛也有病啊！这回头还敢回头跟我打？你这不给哥们养肥起来了吗，兄弟啊？你哥们一会儿起来不锤死你啊！你说马豪这波爆我觉得他犯迷糊，我就不说了。蜘蛛啥意思呀？漏个炮车漂亮，跑尿。这朱豪感觉也不是很行呀，兄弟。蜘蛛他住上了，他住上我喜欢住呗。对我这把优势根本可以躺赢，无所谓。继续抓啊，不抓我难受。这时候你看似我在嘲讽，其实我在给队友心魔。可以看到我们家现在中单优势、下路优势，蜘蛛把所有目光都刷干净，对不对？我就要在公屏上挑衅他，让他使劲抓我。我摆出一副抗压的姿态，等待躺赢，对不对？混一把怎么了？要不准备混一把，这把不睡了，这把抗压。4次吧，蜘蛛好像抓我没5次。第一波抓死，第2波抓死，第3波没抓死，第4波越塔他死了4次。摸接 W， 这炮车你补你就死。哎呦，大招给我砸走之后，这个一技能用不到了。哎呦，什么意思啊？这波的话处理的有瑕疵，大招一摔完之后有个身位，这个一技能不该开的。